Okay, so before I start screen sharing, I wanted to welcome you all out to this web development crash course. We're super excited to have you guys here, and we hope that this is a meaningful experience for you as you learn some cool skills about how to make websites. And that's probably the first thing that I'll say here is like, even though we may not have experience actually making a website, we've all had experience using websites. And so as we're going through some things today, I want you to think to yourself, like, what are the different aspects of the things I'm learning today that I've seen in websites or that I could potentially use to make my own website? And so to kind of give you a flavor of what we can do when we're making websites, I first wanted to show you some of the websites I've made. And then from there, we're going to break it down and we're going to show you how you can make your own website. I'll run you through some different code. And then from there, we'll give you some time so that you guys can actually build your own website. Does that sound good? Everyone ready to go? Right on. Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Let me know if you guys can see my browser. I'm on Google Chrome right now. There's a little counter app. Can you guys see that? Cool. Yeah, so this is I'm going to just kind of take you through some of the applications that I've made. I've been a web developer for only a few years now. I'm 22 years old, but I started when I was 20. So I'm relatively new at this myself. But here's a simple application that just allows you to keep track of a count. You know, if you run out of fingers or something, you can either increment the counter or you can decrement it. Anyway, pretty simple there. Here's another example. And this is a simple calculator where you can just enter in some numbers. Like say we do, let's do a 2. We'll do a 2 and a 3. So you can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, you know, just a basic calculator. And so here we see like the cool side of web development, where besides just showing you something, it can actually do something. And today in our tutorial, we won't quite get to this where you're doing a ton of interactive stuff, but we'll get a sense for how this is possible. Another cool one I wanted to show you guys is a weather app that you guys could make eventually. So maybe we'll just have someone, we'll have Duncan. Duncan, give us a name of the city in the US that we should look up the weather for. I'll make sure to unmute, yeah.
Denver, Colorado.
Denver. Okay, so you just search Denver and then hit submit. And then it looks like it's 76 degrees. Someone can fact check that if you want. It says humidity is 44%. Anyway, it gives you a bunch of descriptions about here in Denver, what the live weather conditions are. And then you have different forecasts. You can look at the 5-day forecast and it breaks it down every 3 hours. Or like, let's have Ashley. If it's okay with you, go ahead and just put, give us a name of a city that we should look up.
Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Cheyenne. Okay. Does that look right? Hopefully it found the right Cheyenne.
Yeah.
That look right, around 72 degrees. Then maybe we'll do one more. Let's try Orlando. Okay, so a little bit hotter there. Feels like 95 degrees. Anyway, a cool little app here. Once again, just showing you that. So besides just everything that we make in a website, something we can do is using an API, which means that we can hook up with code that other developers have made. So for instance, I was not the one who went in and manually said, okay, right now it's 86 degrees in Orlando, but some other developer did that for me. And then now all I have to do is communicate with his code and say, okay, if I search for Orlando, give me the current weather conditions there. And then it handles the rest. So simply by doing that, by using APIs and by accessing code that everyone can use, you can have a whole lot more functionality out of your web apps. Here's another example. I'm a huge basketball fan. And so this is an NBA Insider Hub where from a different developer, I got a list of all the different teams in the NBA and the different conferences and divisions. And then you can kind of display it nicely in a table, or you can do a little player search here. Maybe I'll ask Colby. Colby, can you give me a name of an NBA player if you know one?
LeBron James.
LeBron. Okay, cool. So you just search LeBron, right? And hit search. And then it gives you all the players that it matched with. So LeBron's a pretty unique name, so just one match. You can click on it. Notice it says LAL for LA Lakers. And it gives its position, all this info, how many points a game. Or maybe another example, if you search for Paul, say I'm looking for Chris Paul. He's in the NBA Finals right now. Now you see there's multiple results and you can click one and then it shows the different statistics related to them. So there's another example. And then maybe to flip things up for all the dog lovers out there, we have this app called the Canine Directory. I know Ellie particularly loves this one. What was the one we were looking at? Was it Beagle? You can choose from the list. Yeah, go ahead.
We were looking at beagles. I also am fond of Labrador retrievers, basset hounds, French bulldogs, miniature dachshunds. Lots of different options here.
Let's see, what was the other one? Labrador, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, Labrador.
Oh.
Give me one more, Ellie. Do you have another?
Of course, yeah. I could definitely help you with that. I really like Great Danes. Is that an option?
Great Dane, let's see. It looks like it doesn't.
Oh no.
What about German
Pug, man.
Shepherd?
Pug.
Yeah.
Pug.
Pug? Okay,
Yeah.
Pug. Yeah, Pug, here we go. Oh, look at that. Anyway, so here's another fun little app. Once again, I didn't do anything regarding like looking up pictures or anything like that. Some other developer who has a great passion for dogs, probably like Ellie, took the time to put in all these pictures with the different dogs. And now we have the joy of being able to fetch random dog pictures. And then I'll go ahead and show a few more. Here's another one. So something I like to do for my family members' birthdays is make them little websites. So my dad is huge in sports and statistics. So I went ahead and made him a little scoreboard. So here you can enter in some names. So maybe we'll add in Gil, and then we'll do Chelsea. Let's throw in Carolyn. You just hit add a new player. Carolyn, Caitlin with a C. And then Kelly. Notice how the icons correspond with the letter. And then you hit start game. And then we're off to the races. So then here you can keep track of everyone's score. We'll say for whatever reason, Carolyn got off to a poor start, -5 points. But then Caitlin comes on strong with 6 points. And then Kelly ends up getting 15. And then you end the game. And then here you see, okay, it looks like Kelly was the winner. And then it displays everyone's scores. Here's another cool little application. Good job, Kelly, by the way, shout out. Okay, and then I'll just show a few more and then we're gonna transition to more of a demo tutorial style. Here's another one that was made only a few weeks ago. So this other developer had this genius idea of displaying random coding jokes. And so if any of you are coders out there, you might enjoy this. But you can literally cycle through different jokes that they've provided. And then once you find one that you think is really funny, like this one, hip, array, go ahead and save it. Go ahead and do a few more. And you can just save the ones that you really like. And then also another developer went ahead and made a bunch of dad jokes available to us. So you can also do the same thing and loop through all these different dad jokes. Oh, here's a great one. Why was 10 scared of 7? Because 7, 8, 9, one of our favorites. So we'll go ahead and save that. And then here you have a list of all your saved jokes. And they've made it so that when you hit refresh, you get to still see all of your jokes. Because a lot of times with websites, when you hit refresh, you can lose that information otherwise. And then you can go ahead and exit out of the ones that you're like, yeah, that was kind of stupid. I probably shouldn't have laughed at that dumb dad joke, and go on from there. And then for the last few apps I wanted to show you, here are some retro games. So for any of you gamers out there from back in the day, you might remember this one, Snake. You have this little snake that you follow around, try to get the food, and then your snake gets longer and longer. So this was actually one that I simply made from following a YouTube tutorial. And so this is something any of you could also make. And then once you run into the wall, then it says, oh, you lost, and you can try again. And then this other one is a piano. So I think I need to reshare, so I have the audio. Let me do that real quick. Okay, let me know if you guys can hear this. Can you hear that? Okay. So I'm not much of a piano player, but you can also, besides just clicking, you can also use the keyboard. So maybe do a little hot cross buns for you. Okay, so there's another example for you. And it's funny because I need to update the audio quality on those. If any of you are piano players, you're probably cringing on the inside. So apologies for that. And then for these last two, these are more of the kind of website that I'm going to show you how to make today. So here's a basic photography website. Notice how there's a homepage that kind of gives you an idea of the different pages you can go to. And there's also a navigation bar. And this was one I made for a photographer, so you can learn about them. You can look at the different pictures in their portfolio. And you can also look at the different reviews. So you see all those there. And then here's another website. This one's actually an earlier version of my portfolio, and it goes ahead and shows information about me, how to contact me, and then a basic homepage. So this right here, it looks pretty simple, but it's something that we can learn in only a few hours. So I'm excited to show that to you guys today. And so as we transition to this tutorial portion of this web development crash course, I'm going to show you first off how to get a text editor that we're going to use to make our websites. And so I'll give you the option here to either follow along with me if you want a more interactive experience, which I would recommend, or you can feel free to just watch. And then at the end of this, after I've kind of shown you some things, then there's a nice website that will let us just simply make some things for us. So once again, feel free to follow along or feel free to just watch. It's up to you. So if you're ready to join me in this adventure, go ahead and just search VS Code in your browser. And as always, if you guys ever have questions, or if I'm going too fast, you need me to slow down, anything related to that, feel free to unmute and just let me know. So once you've searched VS Code, you're just going to click on this first one, VS Code, Visual Studio Code. And then for me, I'm on a Windows machine, so it says download for Windows. Yours might say download for Mac or something like that. But you'll just go ahead and click it. And then it says, thank you for downloading. You'll notice in the bottom here, it says I can set it up. And so you'll just go ahead and click on that when you're ready. While this is loading, Visual Studio Code is simply just a text editor that makes it super easy to make websites. You could very well just use something like Notepad and just type in your code right there. But from what you're going to see in this video, you'll realize that's not really the best way of doing it. Using a text editor is much better. For me, it went ahead and said that Visual Studio Code is already running because I have it. But for you, it has a little window that pops up, and then it'll kind of walk you through your typical installation process. So you'll just click next and go on until you have it installed. So maybe I'll give you a minute or two just to catch up with that for any of you who are working on installing Visual Studio Code. And then I'll go ahead and pick it back up at 25 minutes. And once again, if any of you have questions for me, feel free to unmute or also use the chat. Okay. Does anyone still need more time on getting VS Code on their computer? Let's give a thumbs up if you're ready to go. Looks like we're good to go. Yeah? Okay, cool. Alrighty. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and put something in the chat here. Okay. So the link I just put in the chat is a link to all the code that I will be using in this video. Also, it has a simple lesson plan that I've been using that goes through the different things that we're going to cover. So if you ever want to review or you forget what was that one thing we discussed, you have that as a resource for you. But we'll go ahead and we'll open up VS Code. And so once you're here in VS Code, your screen might look something like this. And so if we want to make our first website, what we're going to do first is you'll just click on File right here. Here, just a minute, the light's turned off. Alrighty, we're back. Okay, you'll click on File right here, and then you'll click on Open Folder. And then from here, we'll just go ahead and click on this. And so here you can go ahead and maybe you wanted to save something on your desktop. So then you can just go ahead and make a new folder, call it whatever. Maybe I would just call it like live demo. So you just call it live demo. And then you could go ahead and click into it and select it. For me, I already have one opened up here. So I'll just remove that and I'll just be here in the folder. So here I'm here in the live demo folder, as you see. And to start out, we're going to make an HTML file. Once again, because all the websites that you saw earlier, they all had an HTML file that helps us when it comes to showing a website. And so first things first, with this tutorial being about HTML and CSS, I'm sure you guys have heard about those two things, but if you're like me, when I first started with web development, you're like, what does that even mean? So HTML, think of that as like the content of your web page. I'll go ahead and pull up the portfolio page again. So like all this text here, everything you see that's words, that's all HTML. That's all content on a web page. But then when it comes to styling, so think of colors, think of sizing, think of like where things are positioned on a page, that's your CSS. That's your styling sheets. And so first off, we're going to cover HTML. How do we get the words we want on the page, where we want them? And then we'll handle CSS from there. So I've already done this too, but I'll go ahead and delete these so we have a fresh slate. Okay, so to start off, you're going to go here to this little plus icon on the left that has the file. and you'll click that, and that's going to make a new file for you. And then from here, we're going to call it an HTML file. So really, it can be anything .html. It can be main.html. It can be my website.html, whatever it is. But generally, if it's the main page of your website, you'll go ahead and just call it index. And so we'll go ahead and do that right here. And then once we're here, we have this empty page, empty sheet. Once again, it's something similar to something we could do here in Notepad. But here in VS Code, we can do cool things like this. If you hit an exclamation point and then hit tab, it recognizes that this is an HTML document and automatically creates like some boilerplate HTML, meaning just out of the box, this is what you need to make a website. And so here, let's break this down a little bit. Here on line 1, it says, this is a document of type HTML. On line 2, you'll see that it says lang, which means language. And then the string or the word entered is en, which is English. And then here we have things that are a header and a body. So what are those? So if we go back to our browser, we'll just use this VS Code website. The head, that's basically everything that you don't see here on the main web page. See how here you have all the white space and then you have this little navigation bar? That's all part of the body of the web page because that's everything that's going to be shown. But then everything that you don't see, like basic information about the site or even this title that says documentation for Visual Studio Code, that's in your header. So if we just go back here, we can see here's the head of our website. And so let's go ahead and let's try running this. So something we're going to do for this is get an extension in VS Code. And an extension just lets you have extra features here. So if you just go over here to the sidebar and then click this box with the box outside of it and just click it, it'll open up. And then you can just search live server right here, this first one. And then if you go ahead and click it and then just hit install, you'll go ahead and have a server that you can use to show your website. I'll give just a minute there for anyone who's following along. And then once we have that good to go, you'll notice here at the bottom of the screen, there's a little go live icon. You can go ahead and just click that. And then you'll notice it says port 43743. And so here, if we just go back to our website, here, let me adjust this. Okay, and you'll notice here on this website, notice how it also says 43743. So basically it's saying that here this, it's making a server, which just means it's making this website available to everyone, or at least to us here on our machine. And it's just doing it at the port that it said. And then from here, you'll also notice the title is document. And then you look here, title is document. So let's go ahead and let's start making a basic website. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and call on Kale. How about that? So Kale, I know you like the gym, don't you? You like those gains?
I do.
He does. Okay, so let's go ahead and make you a little gym website. Okay, so theoretically, Kale has a gym. Okay, and so we're gonna run with this and make him a basic website here. So Kale, what would you call your gym if you had a gym?
It's a good question.
We had to put you on the spot, of course.
Gains with a Z.
Gains with a Z. Lowercase z or capital Z?
A lowercase. Keep
Lowercase.
it lowercase.
Okay. We're not getting too crazy. Okay, and so you see we hit save here, and then over here gains shows up. So that's working right. we just effectively changed the title of our website. So now we got those gains going already. Okay. So now we're going to show off a few other things with HTML. So maybe in Kale's website, he wants us to have like a little greeting at the very beginning, and he wants it nice and big. And he's going to say like, oh, I don't know, hey, come lift. Okay. Does that sound good, Kale, or do you have a better tagline right there?
I think that's great.
Okay, hey, come lift. Okay, super exciting. So we'll put an exclamation point, okay? So you hit save, and it's like, it's decent sized right here, but we probably want to make it bigger because this is like the main part of our website, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll use what's called a tag in HTML. So if you can see this, I'll make it a little bit bigger. Anytime you have something like this, where you have like these carets, and so you have an open and closing caret, and then you have here the open, the slash, and the closing caret. These are called tags in HTML, and they basically wrap around elements so that we can apply certain styling to them. And so here, there's things called H tags, which are just header tags. And so that they make our text nice and big and readable. And so the biggest one of them all is one called an H1. So if we just use an H1 tag here, and then we just take this text that we had just floating here, and we just drag it inside of the H1 tag, just like that, and hit save. You'll notice back over here, now this text is nice and big for us. And it says, hey, come lift. And now maybe our website users are actually going to feel empowered and like, yeah, I should lift. It's nice and big for them. Yeah. And then of course there's different sizing for all of our different headers, because maybe that's coming on too strong. Maybe that's a little bit too big. We can go ahead and just copy this. And then we're just going to go ahead and paste it a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, so there's 6 different types of headers. So maybe if we change this to an H2, we'll change this to an H3, this one H4, and this one H5, and then lastly this one to an H6 tag. And we hit save. And then you'll notice here, all of a sudden you have all these different headers. You'll notice that H1 is definitely the biggest, right? And then you go all the way down to an H6, which is pretty small, but if you look at it closely, it still has bolded text. So this is where the concept of like a title and then a subtitle would come into play. So to show you what I mean with that, we're going to do something called commenting out. So if I just highlight over this text, and maybe we want everything but that first big header, you'll just highlight over everything you want to hide. And then if you just hit Control question mark on your keyboard, it'll just hide everything. And basically what this commenting out or hiding does is it disables it so that when you hit save again, it doesn't run that code. It'll only run the code that's not commented out. So this is a great feature if we're looking to test different things out, and we might end up wanting code, so we don't want to completely delete it, but we just don't want it to be shown on our website. So maybe here we just want to use that H6 tag we were talking about earlier, right? And then maybe this one will just say, do it and you're cool, right? Because we all know gym memberships are all about that peer pressure, right? Do it and you're cool. And then you hit save. You're like, that's a little bit too small. Maybe change this to like an H4. Okay, and it's looking good. So those are our different header tags for us. And maybe we want to add some extra stuff to our website now. So let's say that Kale is really, really passionate about going to the gym. And so he wants to share like a mini little essay with us about how much he loves the gym, right? What kind of things would you say in your essay, Kale?
I'd probably make it a haiku.
A
I'm thinking
haiku?
like, what is that, 575?
575? And like, what would be the content?
Oh, going. Oh, I'm at the gym. Yep, that's 5. Oh, I'm at the gym, right? Okay.
Okay.
About to lift some heavy weight. And then I pop my shoulder out of socket. That's like another 7, but I pulled a hammy. There we go. There we go. Wait, get rid of that third sentence. That one doesn't fit.
Wait, are you sure that I like that one?
You like
All right.
that?
We'll leave it at the end, a little teaser. Maybe we'll do an H6 tag just so people still have that, you know.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. All right, and do you have anything else you want to add to this beautiful haiku?
I like it.
Okay, I like it too. It looks good. So if we're ready to turn this into a paragraph, you can just hit P and then hit tab, and then it auto creates those tags for you. And just like we did before, you'll just highlight Kale's amazing haiku, and then you'll just drag it inside of there, like so. And then if you load it, you'll see here, it has a nice little paragraph tag. And then maybe we want to see it twice because it's just that amazing. Maybe even 3 times. So we'll go ahead and do that. And you'll see that here with the paragraph tag, it automatically adds some nice spacing around of that so that you have, you know, like the break between your different paragraphs so that you can, you know, fully take in Kale's haiku that he's made for us. So that's looking good. So now that we have some basic information on our page, maybe we want to make this a little bit more interactive. So maybe, for instance, I'm trying to think, does anyone know like a good gym website? Anyone have like a favorite gym that they go to? Kale, what's your go-to gym?
UT Rec Sports.
UT Rec Sports. Let's go and search that. Okay, great. They have a website here. Okay. So you can picture like, let's say here we wanted to see the hours of, let's see here. Where do you usually go here, Kale?
Greg Gym or
Greg
Belmont
Gym.
Hall. Either of
Okay.
those, but Belmont's closed.
Yeah, since Belmont's closed, we'll go ahead and do Greg Gym. So you can imagine like here we could go ahead and say, maybe we would just do a paragraph tag and say Gregory Gym and say 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. You know, we can literally just copy what's on their website like that. But maybe that's not super helpful because maybe they want to look at it themselves. So maybe what we do as an alternative is we use what's called an A tag. And so an A tag is just a link to a different website. So here we can just type in what we want to have it called, this link. And so maybe we'll just call it UT Rec Sports, okay? And so we hit save and we go back to our website and you'll see here it has some nice styling for us. It's underlined and it has a nice color. And from there, you notice how we try to click on it, but it's not actually taking us anywhere. So that's because we need to also specify this right here where it says href equals, and then it has the quotation marks. If I highlight over it, it says contains a URL or a URL fragment. And so here we can go ahead and paste the link of a website we want it to redirect to. So we just go back here and then we go ahead and copy this whole link. And then if we go back into this, in between the quotations, we'll just paste that in there and then hit save. By the way, save, you can just do Control S. And then from here, if we go ahead and click it, now you'll see it totally redirected us to a separate website. which is nice here because now they don't only have to take our word for it that Gregory Gym is open 8 to 10, but they can also access other resources that are available on the internet, which is something we want to do quite common in web development. And another cool thing I want to show you with HTML is you can actually nest elements or tags inside of each other. So to show you what I mean, maybe here we want to say, maybe we want the link to say UT Rec Sports and then like a dash Gregory Gym and have all that in the link and then just have the time. And we want all of that inside a paragraph. So something we can do is if we just highlight this whole thing and then just drag it inside of this p tag at the very beginning, we'll just hit enter so that we can see this a little bit better. Then from here, we want this Gregory Gym to also be inside of our link. So we'll just move that over like so. And then if we hit save, now you see that inside of this paragraph tag, and just so you can see what the paragraph tag is, if you just hit right click on your mouse here in the browser and then go down to where it says inspect, if you click that, you'll notice it opens up this little developer console. So now we feel kind of like developers, we feel kind of hacky, which is always a great thing. And then here, if you go to this top left corner, how it has this box with the arrow and then it says select an element, go ahead and click that. And then now we can highlight over our web page. And here you see if we highlight over it, it has this paragraph tag of our website. So the blue is all of the text, and then the orange is just the spacing for us. And so you'll notice that everything here in the A tag is inside of this paragraph tag right there. So that's another feature of HTML. You can nest elements inside of each other. So this has all been good. Oh, and then one more thing before I forget. Say, instead of just having a link, because links are kind of boring, maybe you want a button instead. You can also go ahead and nest that. So we'll just use button. You just spell button like that. And then we'll go ahead and move the closing tag of the button just outside of the link over here. And then, so once again, you have the paragraph, you have a button. Inside of the button, you have the link, and then you have the time outside of the button and the link. So you hit save, and then now you notice it already has this little button there for us. And go ahead and click that. Still works the same exact way. We can still find out where Kale goes to the gym and find out why he's talking about all this heavy weight and pulling hammies. We get the feeling for why Kale is so hyped up about the gym, because now we can go and see it for ourselves. So this has been all good and all right, because now we have all these resources. We can, hear all about Kale's popping his shoulder and all that. But maybe we want to make this website a little bit more interactive. Maybe we want to have a form that says, like, hey, come sign up at Kale's gym this time, instead of just, wherever Kale goes to the gym. So to do that, first things first, I was gonna say we should comment out the paragraph and stuff, but that might not be doing Kale's haiku justice. So we'll just leave that for now. But if we go down here to the bottom of our HTML, we're gonna add in a new tag. And so here's what's called an input tag. And you'll notice here VS Code has some different shortcuts for us. Let's go ahead and click on the first one. And then if we hit save, and then we go down, you'll notice how there's this little box here. If you click on that box, now you can enter in text. So I'm sure you guys have all seen this in a website, right? You can go ahead and enter in information, whether that's like your username, whether that's a password, whatever it be. And so here I'm going to show you the different kinds of inputs that are available to us in HTML. So by default, you'll see that type is text. This is by far and large the most used one, where you literally just type in text here. There's also one slightly different called a text area. If you click on that one and hit save, now you'll notice that there's this huge area where we can enter in lots of stuff. Maybe if they had a little poem for us about the gym, we would have it in a little text area so that they have plenty of space for their, what was that, 5x7 haiku? And so they can enter all that right there. And they can also adjust it. You know, if you grab right here, you can move this thing around to your heart's content depending on how big your haiku is. Then let's go ahead and show off a few more input elements. Another cool one is you have input number. Here we go. You click that input type number. If we hit save here and scroll down, now you'll notice something's a little bit different than this first input text. You'll notice here, first off, there's some arrows here. So we'll go ahead and click on one. And you'll notice it's automatically doing counting for me. So similar to that first website that I showed you, here we can control the count of just whatever it would be. So maybe think of like a grocery website and you're trying to buy, oh, I don't know, gallons of milk, right? So then here you could have a little counter that says quantity. How many gallons of milk do you want? And so here you can go up, you can go down, etc. And you can also type in, just like the input field, you can put in, let's say Kale just got back from the gym, right? So you have to do 10 gallons of milk, right? So there you go, 10 gallons. And another cool thing with this one is if you try to enter text, here I'm typing A, B, C, D, E. E only shows up because that's a weird math thing. But it won't let normal text go through. It'll only let numbers go through. So that's another cool thing, because sometimes we want to restrict it so that users can't enter in invalid information. Once again, think of a login for that. You don't want to let them enter in a number when they can only enter in a letter for their password. Then maybe let's go ahead and do a few more things here. Let's say here on Kale's website, maybe there's like a little rescheduling option, or just a scheduling option to say like, hey, these are the times that I'm going to come into the gym, right? So something we can do is if we change this from a number to a date and hit save, you'll notice that here we have this little date input. And then from here, you can go ahead and pull it up, and then it'll show you a little calendar, and you can go through, change the month, and click that. And all this here is something that just comes right out of the box with HTML. Super nice, super usable, ready to go. Maybe for now, we'll just comment these out so we have a little bit more space. Once again, that's just control question mark. And I'm going to show you a few more inputs, and then we'll go ahead and move on to some other stuff. So we also have a time. Let's try that again. Input time. And you click that, hit save. And similar to the date, you can also hit the clock and then choose a time. So hours here, minutes here, AM, PM. You can also go in and say, okay, I'm going to go to Gaines gym, right? Kale's gym at 7:54 a.m., right? Because that's when everyone goes to the gym, 7:54. Then let's go ahead and try a different one. This one's called input color. Here's a cool one. You can click on a color and then you can select it. So like picture a favorite website that you have. Maybe it has the ability to change a theme on it. So you might click on this and then change the theme to whatever color you'd like. So another cool feature there. Another one to keep in mind, and this is actually one that we're going to use later, because basically the whole goal of this lesson for me is to help you to make a basic website, and it's going to have a little login form for us. So of course, when you're logging in, you don't want to have a password here and just input type text. Because if you go down to the input, let's say your password was password, you don't want this to just be shown on a web page. You don't want someone looking over your shoulder to see your password. So you want to have it hidden. And so if you just change this to type password and hit save, now you'll notice it's all hidden for us, just like that. which is ideal. So there's some good features there. There's a few more things I want to cover. Before I get too far in depth, moving on to other things besides inputs, does anyone have any questions? Okay, cool. Yeah, like I said, if any of you ever have questions, feel free to unmute. I'm happy to slow down. I'm just trying to get through some material so that you guys have time to make your own websites as well. Maybe here we'll go ahead and show a different kind of thing that you'll need to make your website. Here, there's something called input type checkbox, excuse me. Once again, if you just go to the link that I pasted here in the chat, so you just click on the chat and then go to that GitHub link, it'll take you to this resource, which is just all of the code and the text that I have for this lesson here. And if you click on lesson plan and scroll down, you'll see some of the different websites that were shown. You'll see some of the tags that we covered. And then you'll go down to this one. I'm literally just taking this and then copying it, and I'm gonna paste it in here so we can see what this one looks like. You'll notice it's an input of type checkbox, and then inside of it, it has a label. So we'll hit save, and then here you can just check. You can turn it on or turn it off. And so you can see how this is useful in your website when you want to have people logging in, because it's such a pain to log in over and over again on a website you use so often. So you can just hit keep me logged in, and then when they log in, it doesn't log you out automatically. So here's another one we might want on our website. Another cool one I wanted to show you is a radio option. So let's go ahead and comment this out and hit save. Okay, and so you'll notice here we have an option that we can go back and forth with, just like that. Cool. And so maybe we want to customize this one a little bit. So maybe I'll call upon Colby for this one. So Colby, do you have like a yes or no question that you've been dying to ask this group?
How about, do you guys swim a lot, or maybe some other sport? Do you guys play basketball?
Okay. Well, we'll keep it simple. Do you guys swim a lot? Because that also has to do with Kale's gym theme, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll just use a paragraph tag. Once again, you just hit P and hit tab, and it goes and makes it for you and say, do you guys like swimming, or do you guys swim?
You guys swim, it's fine.
You guys swim? Okay. Or maybe do y'all swim, right? Because Colby's from Texas, right? Do y'all swim? Okay. Oh no, the lights just went off again. Just a minute. Alrighty. Do y'all swim? And then male and female. Perfect. It's ready to go. No, just kidding. Yes or no. Okay. So yes. And then no. Once again, everything inside of these labels is what they can actually see here on the webpage. And so you'll go ahead and just hit save. And now you'll see yes and no is showing here. And there's also different attributes that we could play around with. Like there's something called an ID, which just shows you, it just gives a unique identifier for your label so that you can do cool stuff with it. So for our sake, it would be yes. And then you would go ahead and change that to yes. And so on and so forth. You'd do the same thing with male and female, where this would be a no here. This would be a no here. And then same things up here. Instead of male, we changed it to yes, and then this would be a no. And then here, this wasn't a gender question anymore of are you male or female, but it was swim. So we'll just do swim. And yeah, we won't go into that right now, but each of these has a specific thing that it does. And it helps us to make our websites not only how we want them to look visually, but it also allows for some interactivity. So now, because we went ahead and made all this correctly, now Colby's question that he's been dying to ask can be answered. And we can simply go in and select yes, or we can select no. Notice how when you select the other one, it doesn't keep the last one you click checked. You can't have yes and no checked. It's one or the other, which is perfect. And then maybe the last select option that I'll show you. Once again, I'm just copying this over from my own code and paste this in. And we'll go ahead and comment out Colby's beautiful question for now, control question mark, and hit save. Now here's what it's called a selection. So maybe you want to limit someone's selection. So maybe going back to Colby's question earlier, say you wanted to know, was it basketball, was it swimming? Like, what is your favorite sport? You can have a question, what is your favorite sport? And then here you can use a selection. So here, this selection is going to be called sports because that's what we're asking about. And then here you can go ahead and change these and say basketball and swimming. And maybe if there's anyone who hasn't talked yet and would like to, maybe we could hear a few more names of sports that we like to do. Maybe Gil, if you're available. If not, that's totally fine. I also know Hassan's a gamer. He likes some sports, right? What's your favorite sport, Hassan?
Soccer.
Soccer. Okay, perfect. We'll just go with that for now. And so we'll go ahead and not only change what is displayed here. First off, we'll show that, I guess. So you'll click on this and you'll notice by default, it has the first option there, but you can then go in and change it from swimming to soccer, whatever it would be. And then here you can also change these to basketball, swimming, etc. These values are things that you are not going to see on a website, but they're going to be helpful for the developers so that they can actually save the information that you provide them. So once again, not going to go into depth about that right now, but just know that's a thing. Because otherwise you'd enter in all this information and then it would immediately just get lost. So cool. I think we're going to go ahead and stop right there. And we're going to transition to a more interactive part of this tutorial. And then we'll come back and show you some things related to styling and with color and spacing and whatnot. So something we're going to do is if you go to, let's go ahead and pull up a website here. If you just go to Chrome and type in CodePen.
You put the link in the chat?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat as well. It's this first hit here. For me, it takes it to my work because I've been signed in. But here you're going to go to codepen.io/pen. And I'll go ahead and put that there in the chat for you guys. Okay, it should be there. So you'll go ahead and click on that. And once you guys have that website pulled up, now you can access CodePen. And so CodePen is similar to VS Code, where it's a text editor that allows you to put in HTML or CSS. So just make a website really. And so we can use this to just simply make a website. We don't have to go through the whole overhead of setting up Visual Studio Code and doing all that. You can just put your code right in here. So then we'll go ahead and just move down this JS because we aren't going to do anything with that. CSS, we'll get to that later. For now, we'll just do HTML. And so here, go ahead and, does everyone have access to the link that I put in the chat earlier, that GitHub link? I'll go ahead and paste it again in case people showed up late and didn't see it. Here, this has the link to all the code that I've been writing so far. Let me go ahead and publish that for you guys. Okay, so now if you go to that first link, and then if you just click on live demo, you'll see this index.html, which was the file that we made about Kale's Gains gym. If you just click on that, then it shows you all the code that we've been working on. So from here, you can simply just highlight the things that you want to test out. So that's what this portion of the tutorial is all about. I'm going to give you guys some time to play around with the different elements that we've used. So maybe what you'll do is everything inside of the body tag, you'll just go ahead and copy that. Everything inside. So from the H1 all the way down to the select, you'll hit copy, and then you'll go back to your HTML and you'll just paste that in. And then you'll notice now you guys have access to all of the same code that I was working on. Okay, and maybe I'll just go ahead and in case anyone didn't follow along, I'll go ahead and provide you guys with this link as well. Okay. So there's that link as well if you want access to all the code that we were using from earlier. And then the cool thing here with CodePen is you can go ahead and make all the changes that you want. And then if you want to save the changes, it's as simple as just going up and hitting save. And then you'll just have to make an account, which is super easy. You'll just enter in like name, email, and password, and you're good to go. And so I'll go ahead and give you guys maybe 10 minutes. We'll go until 15. And then so you guys can just be messing around with the different things. So go ahead and maybe change some text, maybe add some buttons, maybe add a select, etc. And then we'll come back and kind of share the different things we've made. And then once we've done that, we'll come back, learn some more styling things. How do we add color? That sort of thing. And then we'll jump back to this and we can practice again. So once again, we'll just go until 10:15. Unless anyone has questions, I might be messing around on my computer, showing you guys some things as well. And you guys can watch that as well.
The characters that you put prior to what's actually going to be shown on the website, how do you know what's what? Is there like a cheat sheet?
Which characters?
I don't know. I just wanted to see if there's more characters I could look at.
I think he's talking about like H1 versus label versus.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you go ahead and click on that first link that I gave you, once again, I'll just go ahead and show. If you click on that first one, that was the GitHub link, you just want to see all the different options, right? Yeah, so then you'll just, from the link that I gave you, if you just go down to this lesson plan one and click it, and then if you scroll down here to where it says HTML basics, you'll go ahead and you can see the different fields that we've covered. So here you'll see that there's an H1 all the way through an H6 tag. There's a paragraph tag. If you just type in a P and then do the carets, do those tags like we see. And then there's also a tag, it's etc. This should have everything that we've covered. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we've got 2 minutes, so go ahead and make some final changes to your websites that you've made, and then we'll give you some time to share them if you so desire. Okay. Hopefully everyone has had enough time. If you like, you can feel free to keep on working on that while we're kind of talking about this and whatnot. Does anyone have a basic website that they want to share with us? If you do, feel free to chime in or even just post the link to your website in the chat. You can simply do that by just going here to where it says share and just hit share and then do copy link. And then once you've copied the link, you can just hit chat and then just paste it in like I just did. What about Kale? Have you been able to do something over there?
I do. I'm working on my last haiku real quick.
Okay.
So I'll get back with you on that 1 second.
All right. You better put it in the chat because you know we all want to hear it. Hassan, Colby, I'm sure you guys have some basic websites out there, don't you?
Yeah, can I share my screen? I don't
Yeah.
really have a CodePen account right now, so.
Oh yeah, sure thing.
I think you have to enable screen
yeah.
sharing.
Yeah, just a sec. All right, yeah, you should be good to go.
So I just made a quick little gamer website. So here I just have like simple subtitle Gamers Rise Up. What's your favorite game? I have Minecraft, Fortnite, and Pac-Man. And then this link right here, Minecraft is a cool game. And it just leads to the Minecraft website. And then I used a table right here, or I tried to use a table to record like me, Hassan, and Kale's score. Kale's obviously the worst gamer. And then
I
I
don't
have
need that.
and then I just have a simple form with a placeholder, name, a date, and just like a submit form button.
Cool. Go ahead and click on the Minecraft link. Let's make sure that works.
I tried to, but doesn't
Oh,
seem
wait,
to work.
go up. Let's see if we can debug this for him. So scroll up. Okay. HTTPS.
I think it might be a code thing.
It
I
might be.
think I know a way you can get past this. If you say target equals underscore blank, like
As
add
like
a new.
Like a new
Yeah.
thing. Underscore.
You gotta put in quotes though. I mean like target equals quotes underscore blank.
Target equals underscore quotes underscore.
Yeah. Try that now. It'll hopefully open in a new tab.
Oh,
There we
wow.
go.
Hey, there we go. And there you go. It takes you to the website. Nice. Cool. So yeah, there you see a different thing with links. If you put the target underscore blank, instead of redirecting you and changing the current page you're on, it'll just open that page in a new tab for you. So cool features there. Thank you for sharing, Colby. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Kale, is the haiku done yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, it's done. I'm gonna share screens too, if that's okay.
Yeah, by all means.
There we go. Let's go here. Okay. I need to open this up bigly. Oh. Hang on. How do I do that? Oh, well, whatever. Okay. I didn't change too much. Still the lifting. But yeah. Do it and you're cool. I popped my shoulder out of socket. Here's the original haiku. Oh, I'm at the gym, about to lift some heavy weight. I pulled a hammy. Drinking pre-workout. 7 minutes between sets. LIFTR.
Nice.
I got some roid rage. Working on my carrot calves. I'm gonna need a spot.
Nice.
And we've got Ronnie Coleman. I don't know if y'all can hear this. Can y'all hear this?
Yeah, we can.
Perfect.
It's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight.
Holy cow.
Yeah, come to Gaines Gym, and you'll end up like Ronnie, except for the back part. You know how it goes. Wait, how
Nice.
do I get back? Okay, there, I found it. Nope, it's not working. I don't know.
Here. Did you have
Oh,
more
there.
to share? Yeah, I can just take over.
Okay, it wasn't working for a second there. I don't know what was going on.
No worries. Okay. Before we proceed, does anyone else have some stuff that they've been working on? Hassan, yes. Go ahead and share screen or put the link.
I'd like to
whichever.
show off my,
Yes.
here's my website.
Okay.
It's just a website I used to get to know my friends better, right? So I can, I think everyone should fill this out. So you put in your name, and then I ask everyone for their birthday. Oh crap, that's not my birthday. And then once I get to know everyone better, I ask for the credit card numbers. This is my website. I hope you
I
guys.
like the way you styled that so that you can't see it until you scroll down. That was nice. Beautiful.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we would like everyone to go to Hassan's website and fill that out.
Disclaimer,
awesome.
disclaimer, do not go to Hassan's website.
Oh, yes. Amazing. So now you see the full range of capabilities of web development there. Thank you for that, Hassan. All righty, right on. Duncan, do you have something you wanted to show off?
No, not really. It's in process.
Okay, right on. At the end here, if you want to show it off, because we're going to add styling to our webpage and stuff, so you can also show it off then.
Okay.
Anyone else? Are we good to keep on chugging along? Okay, I think we're good. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. All right, we look good. Okay, I'm gonna share screen again. And yeah, so here we could go ahead and keep on working here in this live demo. I'll just go back to VS Code because I think it's a little bit simpler once you have it all set up. And then we'll go ahead and pull up our website again. So now we can go ahead and start adding some cool styling to our website so it looks sweet, right? So if we go down to, oh, and then maybe I'll just show you guys a few more things with HTML real quick. Maybe you saw some things that some people showed off that you were like, wait, we didn't cover that. And it's probably because we didn't cover that. So I'll show you a few of those things. So one of them, if you remember, Colby went ahead and used a table that was showing the different scores and how bad the Kale sucked, right? So this is just straight from that code that you saw earlier on the GitHub link. I just pasted it in here. And then if we hit save, you'll see here it shows a table where you have a company, you have contact, and then you have country. and then it goes ahead and has all that extra information. It's all right here. So you can go ahead and customize a table how you want. Maybe I'll go ahead and add this to my link in case you guys want to play with it later. But it is on the GitHub link. Another one I wanted to show you guys are lists. A lot of the time you're gonna want to be like these. Maybe we'll play along with Hassan's idea, right? So these are my favorite credit cards. No, these are my favorite friends, right? So you have, these are my favorite friends, and then maybe you'll have that. Let's just have that in a paragraph tag. Okay, so just once again, it just has to wrap around whatever you want to be styled like that. So we see it there. And then let's go ahead and add a list. So right now we're going to do an unordered list. So you can just do that by typing in UL. And then for this, every time you want a bullet in your list, unordered just means a bulleted list. You're just going to type in LI and then hit enter or tab. And so this is a list item. This is a bullet in your list. And so maybe some of my favorite friends today are some of our participants here. We've got Ashley, and you'll see she shows up there. Maybe just copy that line and we'll go Gil. Okay, there's another, maybe one more for demonstrations purposes, Chelsea. Okay. And a nice little feature here is we're just going to go ahead and comment this out so I can show you a different thing similar to that. Instead of using an LI, you can use something called an OL. So if you just type in OL and then hit save, you'll notice all of a sudden it shows numbers. So now it has almost like rankings. But of course, that's not true. I don't pick favorites around here, so we better hurry and change that back. Okay, so just to uncomment, same thing. Highlight over it, control question mark. Highlight over this one, control question mark. Whew, okay, we're good. No one knows my friend rankings. Okay, we're safe. And we're good to go. So that's some basics there with HTML. Oh, and then one more thing. Okay, every good website needs a great image, okay? So let's say that we were working on, let's stick with the Kale's Gains website, right? So maybe we just go to Google Images. And then if you just type in workout gym, and we're just like, yeah, this one looks like a great picture. That looks pretty similar to what I've seen Kale doing when he's pointing where the beach is at. So you can just right click on that. And then if you just go down to where it says copy image address, this will give you a link to the image. And to test that, you can just paste it in here. And you'll notice it pulls up that image for you. But then we can also use that text that we've copied to put that in our code. So let me just bring this back. Pull up our website again. And then here, if we use an image tag, which is just img, and hit tab. Now for source, this src, you can go ahead and paste in that link inside of the quotations. And when you hit save, you'll notice now, here's your image. Okay, nice huge image. And so this is a good segue into CSS, because CSS is all about styling, and it's all about making web pages not only have the content that you want, but have it displayed how you want it to be displayed. Because obviously for here on our website, we don't want it to be this small or this huge of an image so that they have to scroll sideways and all that, right? That's a little bit inconvenient. So this is where we can introduce some CSS. So I'm going to show you different ways to do that. One of them, inside your element, you can just type in style. And then if you just do quotation marks, now you can put in different styling. So for instance, I could say width. And then maybe we want it to be 50 pixels. And then if we hit save, you'll notice now that image is a whole lot smaller. It's probably too small though. So maybe we size that up a little bit. Maybe we do 350 pixels. That's a little bit better, still too big, 250. Okay, that looks just about right for the size of that. So then here you're able to style your image just right there. And so what you're seeing here on line 83, this is what we call CSS. And you'll notice contains CSS styling. And let's go ahead and look at this note even further. It says right here, note that it is recommended for styles to be defined in separate file or files. This style element is mainly for the purpose of allowing for quick styling, for example, for testing. So here, this is great if you're wanting to test it out. How would this image look if it's smaller? But if you actually want to make those changes, something we can do is just, we'll go ahead and comment this out. Oh, whoops, that's not working correctly because it's inside of it. We'll just remove it for now. And we'll just save that. And then here, back in VS Code, you can just click here on the Explorer. And then if you hit the plus icon, we'll just call our styles sheet styles.css. And then here, and then here we'll go ahead and customize this. So here we wanted to change our image, right? So something we can do is if we just type in the name of a tag, which is image, img, hit space and then curly brace, and then hit enter, just like so. We can now add the same styling that we had before. So we had width, you just click on that, and then 250 pixels. Pixels is just a unit of width. And now you'll notice if we hit save, nothing happened, right? He's still super huge. Well, he was already huge because he's been going to the gym, but the image is huge, right? Okay. So something we need to do is let our HTML page know that we have this new style sheet. So we go to index.html, and if you scroll up to the top, somewhere in this head tag, if you remember, the head tag is things that aren't displayed on your web page. You can just go here. We'll just do it right before the title. And if you type in link, here it has a link :CSS. If you click that, it goes ahead and makes this tag for us, where it says that it is a style sheet. And then this href, similar to how we had an href for a link to take us to this website, this link will take us to our style sheet. And so for us, our style sheet is in the same folder, and it's called styles.css. So we'll just change that here, and we'll hit save. And now you notice the image is to the right size now. Now he's huge, but the image isn't huge, which is exactly what we want. And then here we can play around with this a little bit more, okay? So maybe we want to make our whole page a different color, because a plain white website is pretty dull, pretty boring. So to do that, we think to ourselves, okay, how would we change the entire page to be a different color? Like, what is that all under? What tag is that under? And if you look at this HTML for a sec, you'll notice that, hey, all this hey come lift. Here, let's scroll up so you can see it. This hey come lift all the way down to your image. Scroll down to the image. All of that is within these body tags. See how those are all contained within the body? So that means if we change the background color of our body, everything else within that will also change. So to do so, just like we grabbed the name of this tag, we can go ahead and say body. I'm just doing it at the top of the file. And then here we can use another attribute called background color. Okay. And does anyone have any preference on what background color we should make Kale's website? Kale, do you have a preference on your own website?
I'm feeling a gradient. Do you think we could do
gradient. Man, if you want to teach that to us, by all means.
that? I usually just search up a gradient maker.
Okay, we'll let you work on that.
Okay.
And then let me know when you have it ready and we'll add it in.
Sweet.
For now, maybe we'll go with like a dark orange, right? Because you have to have a dark orange website. Okay, and so you see, look at this. Everything inside of this has changed to be this dark orange color because that's everything inside of our body. And the body by default takes up the entire page. And then from here, we could go ahead and change specific things. Like for instance, if we wanted all of our paragraphs to be a certain color, like all these, oh, I'm at the gyms, for instance, we wanted all those to have a random background. You can just do the same thing and do P and then curly braces. And then you can just add in, let's see, Colby, give me a background color.
Let's do purple.
Purple. Okay. I wonder if there's a light purple because that might be a little bit too much. Okay, so if you ever have something like this, where like, say you clicked on purple, you hit save and you're like, oof, that is really hard to read. I can't even read that text anymore. You can go to this if you're in VS Code, and then you can literally just drag it to the color that you want. And let's say, yeah, that looks good. You'll notice here, there's also this hex code. So like here, you could also do the same thing with CodePen. By the way, I'll go ahead and show this to you in case you guys want to work side by side with me. If you go back to CodePen, if you want to add in your styling, instead of doing like add a new file, style CSS, whatever, you can just expand the CSS part and you can put in the same styling that I put in over here. So like here, we want to do the body background color orange, for instance. You can literally just paste that in and then there you go. So yeah, CodePen makes it nice and easy. Feel free to experiment as we're going through this. Kale, did you have your gradient ready?
Yes.
Okay. You want to paste it in the chat or how do you want to do this?
Got it. I'll paste it.
Okay. Holy cow.
Why is it pasting twice? For some reason, things are pasting multiple times. I don't know why. This is gonna hurt y'all's eyes.
Oh no, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and add that semicolon. Okay.
I wonder if this is gonna look.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Psychedelic.
Dang, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
For the full effect, go full screen with this one. Dang, that's a
We're
beautiful
back in the
website.
90s or something. This is totally cool. And then MySpace. I don't know.
Yeah. So here you guys actually do see a cool feature of CSS where like if you have something you want to do, but you don't know how to do it, you can do what Kale did, which is just consult Google. And then a lot of developers have also done things that you can use. So here you get the cool radial gradient with all the different colors of the rainbow. Okay, so that's looking semi-good. Now it's coming on super strong, but we're good. We'll power through. Let's see. Let's say here that you like how this is looking, but maybe you want to have maybe this middle one, you want to give it a different background color. Okay. So something you can do is instead of styling just all of your paragraphs in one color, you can specifically give styles to just one element. So if you go back here, it was the second, oh, I'm at the gym that we want to add a style to. If you just click on it and then say class equals, this allows us to give a specific class that lets us define this element. And then we can say, we'll say red because we're going to make this one red. So let's see what just happened there. You hit save. Okay, and you'll notice nothing happens immediately, which is expected because we have to add this in. And then similar to how we had like, here's a tag, and then you have the styles inside of it. If you want to style a class, instead of just typing the name of a tag, you'll put a dot in front of the class. So this one was class equals red, right? So you just come back here. And then if you do a dot red, now here you can go ahead and add in style. So we want to do a background color of red, right? So we'll hit save. And now you'll notice here, only this one has the background of red. So that's a nice way. If you don't want to style all of your paragraphs a certain color, you just go into your HTML and you select all the ones that you want to have a certain styling. And they don't necessarily have to be paragraphs either. For instance, if you wanted to do it and you're cool and make that one red, you could just go up, and even though this one's an H4 and this one is a paragraph, you click on it and just do class equals red, hit save, and you'll notice that it also applies that styling there. So those are two different kinds of selectors we can use to add styling. These are like your tag selectors, you know, because it's just a tag for your HTML. And then you have a class. But then there's also something called an ID selector. And so I'll go ahead and do this one. And we'll say that even though we want both of these to be red, we want this paragraph class to have an extra styling. Because like here, we could go in and say, we could change the text color. If you just type in color and then put in, we'll say white. Okay, so you'll notice that obviously it applied it to both of them, but we'll say that only for one specific element, only for this, oh, I'm at the gym, we want the text color to be white. What you can do instead is go down to it and say ID, and say ID equals, we'll just say second paragraph. And so what an ID is it's just like a class, but ID is only one. Only one element can have this. A class can be shared amongst multiple elements, like you saw here. An H4 can have it, a P can have it, anything can have a class, but an ID is specific to one element. And then here, instead of using a dot for a class, you can go down and use the pound sign, or as the kids call it, the hashtag, the number key, whatever. And then here we'll go ahead and we'll say second paragraph, because that's what we called this ID. See ID, second paragraph, and then go ahead and move this color is white. We'll just move that down. And then we'll hit save. And if you take a look here, this one is still black because it only fit these. It only fit this criteria right here, where it had the class name of red, but then here it had a second paragraph of white. So it became white as well. It had both of those. So there you go. So here's classes, here's IDs, and then of course you have your tag selectors. And so here's the basics with doing CSS styling. You just grab whatever element you want to style, give it a class, give it an ID, or use the tag, and then you can apply certain styles to it. And maybe I'll go ahead and show you a few more things you can do with styling, which I think are pretty cool. I'm going to show you first what's called a div tag. So if you go down here, let's say that I want to make a little card that just kind of separates this. These are my favorite friends from everything. If you just go here and type in div, div is a little divider. It's like saying, hey, here's a separate section of my web page that I want styled different from everything. We can move everything here inside of that. And then here, we'll go ahead and practice what we learned about classes and just give this a class of card. Class equals card. And then now if you go back in here, we can go ahead and say dot card. And then do you guys remember how to give something a background color of white. Feel free to look up here. See how it says background color. So we're going to use that one. Background color. Click on it and say white. And hit save. And so there you go. And you see that here, it goes ahead and it applies that styling. You'll notice though that these are my favorite friends. Is still that purple color because we set up here that all the paragraphs should be that color. So I'm going to show you one other cool thing you can do with this. And this is called nested styling. So let's say that in particular, this card, this paragraph that is inside of the card. So really just this paragraph, not any of the other paragraphs because they aren't inside of the card. We want to make sure that this one has a styling of a light gray, for instance. You can go ahead and do this dot card and then space P. And then go ahead and say background color. And then we'll just type in, we'll just do this light slate gray. And if you hit save, now you'll notice that it's only this paragraph that got that styling. Because here, by putting a space between them, it's saying only do background color of light slate gray on the paragraphs that are inside of a card, which is only this one. And say that's hard to read, so you can go ahead and change the color too. We'll go ahead and make the color white. We'll just copy that and paste it down here. And there you go. Now it's a little bit easier to read. Maybe some other improvements for this. If you look at these are my favorite friends. It's pretty closely grouped together. Like there's not much space around this element, so it looks kind of gross. So maybe we want to add something called padding. And so padding is just extra space around an element. So if we just say padding, and then we'll go ahead and just say 20 pixels, and you hit save. Now look at what happened. Now there's a ton of extra space around this card. We'll go ahead and inspect it. And once again, you just click on this top left arrow. And then if you highlight over it, you'll notice here, everything in green here is padding. And then the red or the orange, that's margin. So margin is what we're going to talk about next. So say I put a margin of, we'll just do 100 pixels so it's super easy to see. If you hit save and scroll down, you'll notice that all of a sudden there's so much white around it. And we'll go ahead and select it so we can see everything in orange is being taken up by this margin. So now it's saying around this card, around this paragraph, go ahead and put 100 pixels of just space. And so keep in mind, this is outside of the paragraph. Padding is within the paragraph and the margin is outside of it. And in case that was confusing to you, I'll go ahead and show that with an example that might make even more sense. So if we scroll down here, we're going to make a button this time. And then we'll say, once again, this is Kale's gym membership website. So we're going to say, click here to get a membership. And you'll scroll down and you see there's the button. Great. Now let's go ahead and we'll give this one an ID to practice that. And we'll say ID is membership button. Just use a dash to separate that. And come back here. If you guys remember how to specify an ID, instead of using a dot, we'll use a pound sign and just say pound and then the name of the ID, which is membership button. Yep, membership button. Okay, and just to make sure we have the right one, we can go ahead and give this a background color of maybe a yellow. Try a yellow and hit save. Okay, excellent. And then maybe something we want to do is add padding. keep in mind that padding is within the element. So if we go ahead and put 20 pixels in there, hit save, you'll notice that all of the spacing is within this button and it's surrounding it. But then maybe this button is too close to this picture. So we want to give it some spacing around the button. So this is where you would use a margin. We'll just say 30 pixels so it's clear to see. And you hit save. And now you guys might have noticed this button is a lot farther from the image. So there you go. Cool. So we've covered quite a bit here. Does anyone have more questions? Everyone good to go? Be thinking of questions while I turn the lights on again. Alrighty. Okay, I think we're good. I'll show you just a few more things with CSS, some cool different properties that you can use on the website that you're building right now. And then once we're done with that, we'll turn you loose again and you'll have time to work on your website. So maybe a different one we want to do is here on this membership button, we want to give this one a bigger font because maybe for people with worse eyesight, it's hard to see that. So you can simply come in and say font size right here, click it, and then you'll see it has a ton of default options for us. For now, we'll just go ahead and do extra, extra large, okay, and hit save. And now look at how huge this button is. Click here to get a membership. But maybe Kale is just not feeling that. That's a little bit too overbearing. You're like forcing people to join his gym at that point. So dial it down to like an X large. Okay, and that looks better. Another cool thing we can do, if you'll notice by default, this button right here has like that light gray. Maybe if I zoom in, you can see it a little better. See how it has a light gray border? We can go ahead and change that if we want. Say we think the border is ugly. We could just say border none and hit save and it's gone. But then it doesn't really look like a button. So we'll go ahead and leave that off for now. Just comment that out and it's back. Maybe we want to add like a nice curved border. There's something called border radius. And you could click that and then give pixels and say like 10 pixels and hit save. And now you see, oh yeah, it's looking good now. Now your button's nice and round, looking good. Maybe you want to make this text a little bolder. So you can just go in and say font weight. And it has some defaults, but we'll just go ahead and select bold. And you hit save, and now that text is nice and bolded for you. A few more things here. If for whatever reason you wanted to italicize that font, you could say font style. And we'll just select italic, hit save. Now you'll notice it's slanted, it's italicized. A few more things for us here. Text transform. You can make something uppercase, which is pretty cool, I think, because if you go back to your HTML, see how all this was typed in, just, you know, first letter was capitalized, everything else was lowercase. Your CSS can convert that to uppercase. Or if you wanted to make everything lowercase, you could do that as well. And even though it was a capital C in here, it changes it to a lowercase c. We'll just leave it uppercase for now, though. And then a few more things here. Okay, so maybe the last one we'll cover and then we'll call it good. There's one called text align. And then here you can change the way this is centered. So maybe we'll have it aligned to the right. That's a little bit hard to see. You'll notice here with text align right, now that second part of it is shifted to the right like you would on like Microsoft Word or something. Whereas here it's in the center. So you can select right, you can select left, etc. We'll go ahead and comment those out and comment this one back in and just leave it like that. Okay. All righty. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at how our website looks full screen. Okay, it's looking pretty beautiful. I gotta say, Kale, the gradient looks nice. Nice and overpowering, but it's good. Okay, so this is what we've come up with so far. And then now I'm gonna turn you guys loose and feel free to use whatever we've practiced so far. Also, don't forget here at that GitHub link, everything that I just covered, whether it was the things you use to select or whether it's the different attributes, it's all right here. So you can look at those if you forgot. And let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and give you a link. So you can either, there's two different options from here. Feel free to keep on working on the website you've been making, or if you just want a fresh slate, I'm going to give a link to a website that I pre-made for us. It's just called the Hikers Guild. And so I'll paste this in the chat in case you guys want to look at it as a resource. So you can either keep on working on your current website, or you can go on to this one and then feel free to mess around with the styling here. So you can go in, you know, maybe you're like, I don't like that light pinkish background color, and you could change it to a blue, you could change some text, change the image, all that sorts of stuff. So does anyone have any questions on what to do next? That makes sense? Either work on your current website that you've been doing, or feel free to make changes on this hiking website that I have here. Sound good? All righty. I'll let you guys keep working. Just like last time, I'll just be doing stuff on my own machine, just kind of showing some things in case you guys forget how to do a few things. And if you have questions, just unmute and let me know. And we'll go until 11:10 my time. So you have about 12 minutes.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, 3 minutes left. Once again, just go ahead and see if you can make any final changes and get ready to share if you so desire. right. Okay. Is everyone done for the most part? Hopefully. If we need more time, that works as well. Okay. Right on. Does anyone have a website that's ready to go, ready to share? Kale does. Okay. Anyone else? Probably got a few out there. Hassan. Ellie might have one too. Still working on it.
I was doing some stuff and trying to put some links in, and I ended up getting everything kind of deleted. So I'll do a little bit more on mine. I don't know if I'll be able to share it, but
Okay.
I'll
try
let you guys
to-
know if I can pull it back together.
Yeah, we'll try to cycle around to you if there's time. Okay, cool. Let's go have Hassan start this time, and then we'll have Kale go right after.
All right, fine.
Let's switch it up. I'll
Okay,
let you go
okay.
first every time. All right, go ahead and screen share, Hassan.
All right, I'm ready. Yeah, so I decided to make the world's best website, right? As you guys can see here.
Oh my goodness.
I just made YouTube Sports. That's it. Thank you.
Wait, what?
So where'd you get that, Hassan?
YouTube Sports.
Interesting.
All righty, Kale.
Yeah. I've upgraded a little bit. Added text drop shadow here, you know.
Wow.
We've got a buff horse in the background. That'll be you if you go to Gaines workout place, I guess. I hope you like my marqueed text. It's pretty easy to do with HTML. And then we got the cursor going on. This
Oh,
my
is that what
cursor.
that is? Okay.
Yeah. if I
Damn.
want to click on this, it undoes it. Oh wait, oops. Stop it. Go back. How do I undo that? Dang it. Okay. I screwed it up. It changes if you hover over something, and it shouldn't. Let me delete that part. Okay, that should be good. Is it gonna work for me? Man, I don't know what to do about this. What's it angry about? This is so sad. If I refresh, it's gonna kill my vibe. Dang it. What do I gotta do here? What do I gotta do here? Okay, I got it. I know what to do. I'm gonna paste this here. I'm gonna copy this. Now I'm gonna refresh. Come on. There. And let me paste in the CSS again. Hiya. There we go. Nice. So now my cursor. What happened to my cursor? Oh, okay, it screwed up. Apparently you have to have auto here. Okay, well, yeah. Hope you like it.
It's pretty cool.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Maybe I gotta do that. Maybe now. Dang it. Didn't do it. Okay. Well, I tried.
I like the
I wanted
join
it to
today
show
better.
everywhere. What is going on? How do I? Oh, there. Okay. How do I stop?
Yeah, how did you get all this stuff in here, like the join today thing? Where did you find that?
So like that is a combination. I added a marquee right here.
Okay.
So that makes it move. And then I made the background red. You see it's the class is big.
Mm.
And so over here under the big class, we've got some stuff. So I increased the font size, got a background, some text shadow, but that later gets overwritten right here. basically I went to a text shadow generator, and that's how it looks like this.
Okay. So that marquee is just straight HTML. that has
Right.
a-
Like if I get rid of all this real quick,
Mhm.
then you can see what the marquee is doing. It's just right there, chugging along.
Nice. Super cool.
Thank you.
Right on. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Anyone else? Colby, do you have anything to share there?
Yeah, I can go real quick.
Okay.
So I just started off making the basics of making a website. So I have like the start of a nav bar right here, and I just have like this introductory phrase with just the picture behind it, and I just added a background.
Nice. The cool little gradient you have down there.
Yeah.
Nice. That's looking good. He's
Thanks.
got his homepage. Now he can go ahead and make the rest of the website. That's what we do here. We get people off their feet. We get them going to the gym, or making websites, whichever. Alrighty. What about Will or Ellie? Do either of you have anything you'd like to share?
What you got, Will?
I don't have anything. I'm recording.
Okay.
Therefore, I'm exempt. Duncan has a great website though. Ask Duncan.
No, I don't. I did the same thing Ellie did. I accidentally deleted everything.
Oh, that's a likely story.
I'll get it next time.
No, hey, you don't have to be embarrassed. Duncan, show us what you got.
I don't know if that's the truth.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Does anybody else want to share? I know we got a couple other people on here. Anybody? All right.
Well, cool. Alrighty. Well, in that case, I'll leave some time at right here for questions if anyone else has any. But for now, that's been the tutorial for you. Once again, if you're looking for resources, I would recommend that you pull up the chat and go ahead and copy those links so that you have them. If nothing else, just so you have a link to this website right here. I'll share my screen again. Just so that you have all the code that we've discussed today. And so if you're ever wondering later, like, oh, what were those things I learned in HTML? Maybe you could bookmark this page and take a look and review them when you're ready to make your website. So thank you again for your time. It's been a pleasure, and it's been fun seeing what you guys have been able to create. And yeah, I'll stick around for questions, but thank you.